Longer and rangier cornerbacks. That seems to kind of be the norm now with Iowa football recruiting at defensive back, specifically at corner. We'll talk about the commitment of Darion Jones, a young guy from the Omaha area, what he adds to Phil Parker's group in the 2026 class. But first, a quick thank you to our sponsor, Iowa Floor Covering down in Bondurant. Be sure you check out what they can offer you and your family or your next DIY flooring project. You can visit them online, iowafloorcovering.com/DIY, or you can call them at 515-379-7000. That's 515-379-7000. IFC, that's Iowa Floor Covering in Bondurant. So the Hawkeyes getting a commitment from a young man from Omaha, defensive back Darion Jones, who will join Iowa football's 2026 class, which of course will sign in December. Darion has an interesting backstory. He grew up in enemy territory, so to speak, over on the Nebraska side of the river. His older brother is actually a young defensive back for Nebraska. So there's going to be a bit of a border rivalry there within the family, kind of a cool storyline. And Darion's older brother, Dallas Jones, I believe, has worked some with the Iowa media and attended the University of Iowa. So there's connections both ways. It sounds like Darion actually grew up a Hawkeye fan, and he took a number of visits to a number of high major places, not just Iowa, but also Nebraska, Iowa State, Kansas State, and Minnesota. Also had offers from places like Washington State, Wisconsin, and a number of other G5 schools. Now in 2024, as a junior, he totaled 47 tackles on the defensive side of the ball, 8 interceptions. What a number there, including one that was returned for a touchdown. More on that in a moment as it relates to his kind of a play style, his MO, so to speak. Also had 5 passes broken up and a forced fumble along with a sack. Now he played offense. He's played offense during his high school career, totaled 43 receptions last year for 776 offensive yards, 11 touchdowns, 2 return touchdowns on special teams. So he does bring that element to the game as well. He plays basketball, multi-sport athlete, as you see with most skill players and guys who are playing on the perimeter, and even the guys in the interior, they're wrestling. And Darion, as I mentioned, the skills in the return game, that shows up on tape. He's just much better when he has the football. In fact, when I watched him initially, I thought to myself, I'm surprised that he's not being recruited as a receiver. Now, I don't know what these other schools, if all of these other schools foresaw him as a DB, but I wouldn't be shocked if down the line he switches over, not to say he won't succeed as a defensive back at Iowa. I can tell you he's really aggressive on both sides of the ball, and that's what I would take away in large from his tape. He's really aggressive on the perimeter. He makes his money by getting his hands on the football, turning the offense over, and of course, on offense, he's a pretty good route runner. I mean, I'm trying to read between the lines and look at tape here, but he's got excellent speed once he's got the ball in his hands. Now, what I don't know is how he'll be as his own cover guy at Iowa. I don't know. Most of his tape is showing his ability to close quickly on the football and make plays, get his hands on the football, break up passes, get picks, etc. And as I mentioned, he's got really good ball skills. He seems to have very good hands, and that's why it makes sense that he played receiver and has been a really good receiver over at Omaha North. He's played high school football at Omaha North. He's listed at 6'1", about $170. And so he is rangy. He's longer. It seems like Iowa has tended to target longer, rangier DBs, specifically corners, over the last 5 to 10 years. And maybe I'm just living in the moment. It seems, to my recollection, without going in and looking at the data itself, that Iowa used to target maybe smaller DBs like a Jovan Johnson and Desmond King. But now it seems like most of their corners are rangier, like a TJ Hall, like a Julius Brents, or in this case, Jones, and they've got some longer rangier guys coming up in 2025 as freshmen. So again, congratulations to Darion Jones. This seems like a good ad. You trust Phil Parker, LeVar Woods. It sounds like those are the two guys that really led the recruiting efforts. And I mean, that's where his future is going to be, assuming Phil Parker remains at Iowa and LeVar Woods. Those two guys remain at Iowa during the length of Darion Jones' career at Iowa, and assuming Jones sticks with Iowa. So many players end up either leaving early for the NFL or, of course, for the transfer portal. But LeVar and Phil will be such a big part of this young man's future because he does look like he could be a real threat, a real gamer on special teams in some way, shape, or form, whether he's got the ball in his hands or he doesn't. He's just so quick on the perimeter. But again, he's got really good ball skills. So we'll see how he does as a cover guy. Iowa needs help this year at corner. It sounds like TJ Hall's taking a step forward. We're going to start reviewing player by player, position by position breakdowns as we get closer and closer to the season. We're approaching Big Ten Media Days here next week. So ramping up the coverage here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Be sure you hit the like button. Thank you for being here. And we'll be back with more recruiting coverage, more commitment videos, and the like right here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Have a great day.